What's going on, fam? In today's video I'm gonna show you that dope animation. But before we begin, if you didn't know, I'm running the Editing Shift, which is a store with video editing digital assets. So if you want to cut your editing time, then check out the link in the description. Here you have the comp settings. The only asset I prepared for this animation is my logo, so I'm gonna drop it on the timeline. Let's scale it down a little bit, and we're also gonna pre-compose it. I'm gonna move all attributes into the new comp, and I'm gonna hit OK. For now, I'm gonna turn up the visibility for that layer. And first thing we need to do is head over to the pen tool, and we need to create a small line. I'm gonna make it even smaller. Let's zoom in. We're gonna change the color to white, hit OK, and we're gonna set the line cap to round, before, after. Let's recenter, and maybe we're gonna bump up the stroke width. Now we need to create a new composition, so I'm gonna hit Ctrl+N. We're gonna change the width to 10,000 and height to 150. So that's what we should have. I'm gonna actually copy this and paste it here, recenter, and I'm gonna pre-compose that layer. Let's hit OK. And basically, just to make some order, I'm gonna rename comp1 to tape. So this is gonna be our tape. Now we need to head over here and we're gonna adjust the settings in that comp. So I'm gonna hit Ctrl+K, and we need to decrease the width definitely to like do something like that. Maybe a bit more, and then height as well. Something like that should do. I'm gonna hit OK. I'm gonna go back, and here to this layer, which is that shape, I'm gonna add motion tile effect. I'm gonna head over to output width, and I'm gonna bump it up. We kind of want to fill out the whole pre-comp here. So like that. I'm gonna put it above. Just as I'm looking at this, I feel like we could make one adjustment, which is the width. I'm gonna bump it up, go back, and now I'm gonna duplicate that layer. I'm gonna drag it here, and we could just offset it a little bit. The next thing we need to do is pretty much the same thing, but for the text. So I'm just gonna type in Shift. We're gonna recenter, change the font to maybe regular, decrease the font size, and we're also gonna change the color. Now I'm gonna pre-compose that layer, rename it to text, hit enter, go into it, and now we need to do the same thing. So I'm gonna hit Ctrl+K, and we need to decrease the width. Something like that should do. Let's hit OK, go back to our tape, and I'm gonna again add motion tile effect. We're gonna bump up the output width just so we can fill out the whole thing a little more. Perfect. Okay, so let's go back now. We can delete this. Let's go to project, and I'm gonna drag our tape onto the timeline. And here we're gonna do one more adjustment in the tape, which is adding a solid. The black one is fine, so I'm gonna hit OK. Let's put it underneath, rename it to BG. Let's go back, and now as you can see, we got a pretty cool tape. We'll spice it up later on. Just for now, we need to add the effect called extract. I'm gonna decrease the white point, so the white is not visible. Okay, seems to be good. Now I'm also gonna add a black solid over here. We're gonna put it underneath. Actually, you know what? We could change the color to something different. Like maybe gray. Let's hit OK. OK again. And now I can tell that we got some errors over here. So we're just gonna decrease white point even more. Okay, that seems to be perfect. I'm gonna bring back our logo, and I'm gonna create a new camera. We're gonna change the preset to 80mm, hit OK. And by the way, make sure that you got 2-node camera. Hit OK again. We're gonna put it underneath, create a new null object, rename to cam control, parent the camera to the null. We're gonna put the background underneath the camera. Let's change the color over here. And we're gonna turn on the 3D layer on everything above. And what we need to do is head over to our view and change it to 2 views. I'm gonna go to our cam control, hit P, and go back like that. And what we need to do with that tape is put it in random places. So for this, we need to bring it up, then play around with orientation, put it a little bit to the back, hit Ctrl D, put it to the front, change orientation, drag it somewhere here. Basically, all I want you to do is put it in random places, but don't change the scale, because then the tape is gonna have different sizes and it's not gonna look realistic. So that's important. So now I'm gonna duplicate it one more time, put it closer to the camera. So all we need to do is just play around with Z, orientation, and that's it. Okay, I might have went overboard with the amount of tapes, but we'll see later on if it works out. So now, just to show you the power of it, if I hit P for the camera, I mean for cam control, and I move closer, you're gonna notice that 3D feel, which is extremely dope. But definitely we need to change the resolution, just in case if my After Effects crashes. Did it just crash? Jesus. Yes, it did crash. You should work with the full quality on. So now what we can do is select all the tapes, pre-compose them, call it tapes, hit enter, and we're gonna click that little asterisk. Now, I'm gonna turn off the visibility for the tapes so my After Effects can work smoothly. Then we're gonna head over to cam control, hit P, create a keyframe for position, also hold shift, click R, keyframe Z rotation, move forward, and drag that Z rotation keyframe over here. Now we're gonna get closer to our logo. We're gonna move back with the time indicator, and we're just gonna play around with rotation So that's what you should have. But we are going to actually add a graph to this. So I'm gonna easy ease the keyframes, go to the graph editor, fit the graph, and we're gonna squeeze in the pick to the left, just like that. I'll probably make it faster. Let's see it with the tapes. Okay, I can already tell that we got an error over here. So I'm gonna go into the tapes and we're just gonna select them all, hit S, and if we scale them up all together, it's gonna be fine. Just don't change the scale for individual tapes. Okay, that's pretty cool. I'm just gonna create one more tape over here. Let's just do it like that. And I'm actually gonna duplicate one more tape and put it on the bottom, then rotate it a little bit with orientation. That looks way more symmetrical right now. Just wondering if the logo was further away, it might look even better. And then we could probably get closer to the logo. Yeah, I think we're gonna do it like that. Yeah, these two are giving us a lot of depth. Now we're gonna head over to the camera, transform, alt-click point of interest, type in wiggle, and in brackets 1.5, 20. Okay, that's pretty cool. I'm gonna go into tapes. I'm gonna turn on the motion blur, go back, turn it on here. That's how it's looking. I'm gonna turn it off for now. I'm gonna hit P. We're gonna get a little bit further away. I'm just thinking, as for this graph, I feel like we could adjust it. So I'm gonna hit easy ease again. And let's maybe try the mid graph. Yeah, that's way better. Something we could do here is grab one background. I'm gonna go to shadow grid, HD, black, and we're gonna pick this one. Actually, you know what? I'm gonna delete it. I'm gonna select our black background. Now I'm gonna alt click and grab that background onto this one. And that way it just changed. So it's pretty cool, but since we got the movement over there, we need to actually turn on the 3D layer. So this background needs to be extremely far away for it to look good. So I'm just gonna do it like that. Scale it up. Yeah, starts to look pretty cool. I'm gonna add tint to that background and we're gonna change the first color to something a bit different. What is good with red? Probably blue. Yeah, I'm gonna leave it like that. Then we're also gonna add exposure and we're gonna decrease it. I can see the edges over here, so for this we're gonna also add motion tile. We're gonna bump up the output width, check mirror edges, and we're gonna put that effect on top. I'm just gonna look for our camera over here. Now I'm gonna head over to camera options. We're gonna turn on the depth of field, and I'm gonna adjust the focus distance so it's on our logo. So let me see it from the side. Okay, a bit more, just like that. Now we're gonna bump up the aperture like that. Let's see. So just by adding that scene looks so much more realistic. The thing that will burn our PC is heading over here, actually not here, to the tape. We're gonna select the text and we're gonna add the effect called deep glow. You can use regular glow, that's fine as well. Gonna change the quality to C. It should be all good, but we need to put the text underneath the tape. So now this is gonna give us that glowy look. Probably too intense. So for this, we're just gonna play around with the values. So I'm gonna decrease the exposure, radius as well, and something like that should do. Yeah, much better. On top, we're gonna create a new adjustment layer and we're gonna add the effect called vignette. Let's rename the layer. And something we could do to make it more dynamic is adding position keyframes to the logo. So I'm gonna hit Alt-Shift-P, move back, and with Y position, we're gonna drag it downwards. Gonna select both, easy ease, go to the graph editor. Yeah, I think we're gonna make a mid graph over here. Let's also add a little bit of glow to this. I'm gonna decrease the values. Okay, that seems to be perfect. I'm gonna turn on the motion blur on this one, go into the tapes, everything's turned on here, and let's watch it in the full quality. And you know what? I feel like I need to add one more touch here. We're gonna go to resolution, quarter. We're gonna duplicate cam control 1, hit U, delete the last keyframes, parent 1 to 2. And what we're gonna do is create a sharp movement towards the back. Let me just change the quality here, turn off the motion blur. And we're gonna do it like that. Now I'm gonna use the mid graph. We can actually delete that keyframe. Okay, that's really cool. But the thing we need to do here is actually go to the camera options, and we're gonna change the focus distance. So once we're somewhere here, and then somewhere at this position, we need to adjust it to our logo, so it's still in focus when we're back. Yeah, that's really dope. Okay, we're ready to see the entire animation. The only thing I would do is probably bump up the amount for vignette and also create a new adjustment layer that is gonna be having posterized time on. I'm gonna change it to maybe 18. Let's rename and let's see if it looks better with this. Okay, that looks dope. I think it's looking better with the posterized time on. Now let's see without. Let me know in the comments which one you prefer, with the posterized time on or not. I'm gonna leave it with. So that'll be it for this animation. I recommend using fewer tapes because it's gonna really be heavy on your PC. Without further ado, I'm gonna wrap it up here and I'll see you tomorrow. Cheers guys.